they found that ancient Greek computer thing on, what is that called?
The Antikythera mechanism.
In the azure waters of the Mediterranean, a shipwreck harbored a secret for over 2 millennia, a mechanical marvel that would challenge everything we thought we knew about ancient technology. The Antikythera mechanism, often called the world's first analog computer, sat in fragments, its full potential locked away by time and corrosion.
This was a spectacular device. It's an analog computer. This was a device that we wouldn't see again for another 2,000 years until the 1800s.
That is, until 2025, when a groundbreaking decoding effort finally unlocked its complete functionality and purpose. This remarkable achievement didn't just fill gaps in our understanding, it shattered them completely, forcing historians and scientists to fundamentally reconsider the timeline of human technological advancement. What was once thought impossible for ancient minds is now proven to have been within their grasp, revealing a sophistication that rivals modern engineering principles. The story of this ancient Greek astronomical calculator is about to become even more astonishing.
Human beings were working on creating this geared and cogged machinery that reflected the patterns in the sky.
Oh, is that a recreation of it?
That's a recreation of something like it, yeah.
The tale begins on a stormy day in 1900, when Greek sponge divers sheltering near the island of Antikythera discovered the remnants of an ancient shipwreck. Among waterlogged wood and tarnished bronze statues lay something peculiar, fragments of a corroded mechanism with visible gear teeth. Initially overlooked, these fragments would later be recognized as components of history's most sophisticated ancient technological artifact.
With teeth about 1 millimeter long, and this was just completely shocking.
For decades, the mechanism remained largely a mystery. X-ray technology in the 1970s revealed glimpses of its internal structure, a complex arrangement of at least 30 bronze gears housed in a wooden case, roughly the size of a shoebox. Inscriptions in ancient Greek suggested astronomical functions, but much remained indecipherable. By the early 2000s, advanced imaging techniques, including computed tomography, revealed more details. Researchers determined the device calculated astronomical positions, predicted solar and lunar eclipses, and tracked the 4-year cycle of athletic games, including the Olympics. Dating to approximately 100 to 150 BCE, it displayed lunar phases, planetary positions, and even accounted for the irregular orbit of the moon. Prior to 2025, scholars generally agreed the mechanism was an astronomical calculator of remarkable sophistication.
Dozens of cogwheels on the inside, that analog computer was used to predict astronomical events.
Its construction suggested knowledge transfer from earlier Babylonian astronomy combined with Greek geometric theories, particularly those of Hipparchus. The craftsmanship indicated a precision previously thought impossible without magnification tools. The 2025 breakthrough, new technologies applied. The path to decoding the Antikythera mechanism fully required a convergence of technologies that simply didn't exist until recently. The 2025 breakthrough began with the development of quantum-enhanced X-ray tychography, a technique allowing researchers to visualize the device's corroded interior down to the molecular level without physical intervention. Unlike previous imaging methods, this technology penetrated layers of mineralization that had obscured crucial components for over a century. But the true game changer came through artificial intelligence. A specialized neural network was trained on known ancient Greek mechanical designs, astronomical texts, and metallurgical patterns. This AI system, nicknamed Archimedes by the international research team, could identify potential gear configurations even when only fragmentary evidence existed. It reconstructed missing components based on mechanical necessity, predicting with astonishing accuracy where pieces should fit and what their function would be. The third technological pillar came from advanced materials analysis. Using neutron activation analysis and isotope fingerprinting, researchers identified the exact origin of the bronze alloys used throughout the mechanism. This revealed something unexpected. Different components came from different workshops across the Mediterranean, suggesting a collaborative enterprise rather than a single inventor's creation. We essentially created a digital twin of the mechanism, explained Dr. Elena Nicolaou, the project's lead researcher. But unlike previous reconstructions, this one could actually function in simulation, revealing operational subtleties we'd never understood before. Perhaps most ingeniously, the team employed haptic feedback technology to feel how the mechanism would have operated. Engineers wearing specialized gloves could interact with virtual reconstructions, sensing the resistance, clicking and movements of gears as they would have felt to the original operators. This tactile dimension proved crucial when determining the proper sequence of operations.
When I see this, I see the development of the Antikythera technology.
It's
all there at its birth in the Antikythera mechanism.
The interdisciplinary nature of the project was unprecedented. Archaeologists worked alongside quantum physicists. Classical scholars collaborated with machine learning specialists, and astronomers partnered with metallurgists. This cross-pollination of expertise allowed insights that no single discipline could have achieved alone, deciphering the mechanism's full functionality. The 2025 reconstruction revealed that the Antikythera mechanism was far more than an astronomical calculator. It was a multifunctional computational device with capabilities previously deemed impossible for ancient technology. One of the most startling discoveries was the identification of a previously undetected differential gear system, a mechanical engineering principle once thought to have been invented in the 13th century. This sophisticated component allowed for the simultaneous calculation of multiple celestial cycles with remarkable precision. Even more surprising was the discovery of what researchers now call the prediction circuit, a set of gears specifically designed to model astronomical anomalies. This system didn't merely track known celestial patterns, it could account for irregularities and make adjustments, suggesting the ancient Greeks understood concepts like orbital eccentricity at a mathematical level far beyond what historians had believed possible. What we're seeing is essentially a mechanical algorithm, noted Dr. Marcus Chen, a computer scientist on the research team. The mechanism isn't just displaying information, it's processing it through a series of mechanical logic gates. The front dial of the mechanism, previously understood as a calendar, was revealed to have secondary functions for calculating prime numbers and geometric ratios. Small pin-like protrusions, previously thought to be decorative elements, were identified as mechanical input devices, essentially an ancient user interface that allowed operators to enter data and receive computational results. The back of the mechanism contained an even greater surprise: a reconfigurable component that could be adjusted to calculate different mathematical functions depending on its arrangement. This suggests the device wasn't built for a single purpose but was designed as a versatile computational tool that could solve various classes of problems. Most remarkably, researchers identified a mechanical memory system, a set of notched wheels that could store previous calculations for later reference. This feature, analogous to computer memory, allowed the device to build upon previous computations without starting from scratch each time. Advanced astronomical knowledge revealed. The 2025 decoding uncovered astronomical knowledge so sophisticated that it forces us to reconsider the entire timeline of scientific discovery. The mechanism didn't just track celestial movements, it modeled them with an accuracy that shouldn't have been possible with the observational tools believed available in the 2nd century BCE. Perhaps most astonishing was the discovery of a previously unidentified gear system that accounted for the precession of the equinoxes, the gradual shift in Earth's rotational axis that takes nearly 26,000 years to complete a full cycle. This phenomenon wasn't officially discovered until Hipparchus around 130 BCE, yet the mechanism implements it with a mathematical precision suggesting decades, if not centuries, of prior observation. We found evidence that they understood astronomical concepts we thought weren't discovered until the Renaissance, explained Dr. Sophia Papadopoulos, an archaeoastronomer with the research team. The mechanism accounts for the varied speeds of planets in their orbits, essentially modeling what we now know as Kepler's laws of planetary motion, but nearly 1,800 years before Kepler formulated them. The device also incorporated lunar anomalies with stunning precision, Its gears modeled the moon's elliptical orbit and varied speeds through a mechanical implementation of what mathematically aligns with the equations later developed by Isaac Newton. The mechanism's creators understood that the moon moves faster at perigee, closest approach to Earth, and slower at apogee, farthest distance, implementing this through a specialized gear train that historians have dubbed the Lunar Anomaly Circuit. Even more remarkably, newly deciphered inscriptions revealed astronomical observations of objects beyond Saturn, the furthest planet visible to the naked eye. References to periodic movements of distant wanderers suggest ancient Greek astronomers may have detected patterns in celestial objects beyond their ability to clearly see, perhaps through observing their gravitational effects on visible bodies. The mechanism also contained a previously undiscovered eclipse prediction system accurate to within 2 hours, a level of precision that would require systematic observations spanning centuries. This suggests an uninterrupted astronomical tradition of data collection and mathematical modeling far more advanced than previously credited to ancient civilizations. The cultural context illuminated. The complete decoding of the Antikythera mechanism has transformed our understanding of Hellenistic society far beyond technological capabilities. The inscriptions, now fully transcribed, reveal a culture where mechanical knowledge wasn't isolated to a few rare geniuses, but represented a broader educational tradition that blended philosophy, mathematics, and craftsmanship. References within the mechanism's text to the teachings of the school suggest formal educational structures dedicated to mechanical knowledge, something previously unattested in historical records. This implies institutionalized scientific education more sophisticated than the philosophical schools we've long known about, with practical engineering knowledge being systematically taught and preserved. What's remarkable is how the inscriptions blend mathematical theory with practical application, notes Dr. Eleni Kontopoulou, a specialist in ancient Greek science. They don't just give instructions for using the device, they explain why it works in terms of geometric principles. This was education, not just operation. The mechanism also reveals previously unknown cultural connections. Components crafted in Alexandria, Rhodes, and Athens suggest collaborative networks spanning the Mediterranean. This points to intellectual exchange far more extensive than previously documented, with specialized knowledge flowing freely between these centers of learning, particularly illuminating our references to public demonstrations of the device. Inscriptions mention its use during festivals and civic gatherings where astronomical phenomena were explained to broader audiences. This suggests a society where scientific knowledge wasn't solely the province of elites, but was actively shared with the wider public, a form of science communication we previously thought emerged much later in history. The language used in the inscriptions also reveals something surprising about ancient attitudes toward technology. Rather than separating mechanical craft from higher philosophical pursuits, the text integrates them, referring to the mechanism as wisdom embodied in bronze, suggesting the ancient Greeks saw no contradiction between practical engineering and theoretical knowledge. The engineers behind the marvel. For decades, the creation of the Antikythera mechanism was attributed to a single brilliant individual or small workshop. The 2025 findings have completely rewritten this narrative, revealing instead a collaborative network of specialized craftspeople working across the Hellenistic world. Isotope analysis of the bronze components identified at least 3 distinct metal sources with manufacturing techniques characteristic of different regional traditions. The main framework shows hallmarks of the Rhodes Mechanical School, known for astronomical instruments, while the precision gearing bears similarities to Alexandria's engineering tradition. The inscriptions, meanwhile, include dialectical variations suggesting multiple scribes from different Greek regions contributed to the final text.
There's thousands of text characters in ancient Greek. It's brought back the history of technology to a much earlier time.
This wasn't the work of a lone genius, but a sophisticated collaborative project. We've identified at least 7 distinct hands in the craftsmanship, explains Dr. Jonathan Harris, a specialist in ancient metallurgy. different components show different tool marks and finishing techniques, like having 7 different artists contribute to a single painting, each with their own recognizable brushstroke. Even more surprisingly, the decoding revealed actual names, not just of the designers, but of the specialized craftspeople who created individual components. Inscriptions reference Cleitios of Rhodes as the master of gear cutting, Theon of Alexandria as the mathematical modeler, and intriguingly, Hipparchia of Samos as a female astronomical calculator who determined the gear ratios. This is the first concrete evidence of women's direct involvement in ancient precision engineering. The mechanism also appears connected to a previously unknown workshop tradition mentioned in the inscriptions as the Syracusan lineage, suggesting a direct connection to Archimedes and his students. This provides the first tangible evidence of how Archimedes' theoretical work was practically applied in the ancient world. Particularly fascinating is evidence that these craftspeople were aware of their achievement's significance. One partially restored inscription reads, "We have captured in bronze what our ancestors knew only through mathematics, so that generations to come may see the cosmos as we understand it." They weren't just creating a useful device, they were consciously preserving knowledge in a form they hoped would survive the ages. Global reactions to the decoding. The 2025 Antikythera revelations sparked immediate and profound reactions worldwide. Scientific journals underwent unprecedented publishing schedules, with Nature, Science, and Antiquity simultaneously releasing special editions devoted entirely to the findings. Within academic circles, the revelations caused what one Cambridge historian called the most significant paradigm shift in ancient technological history since the decipherment of cuneiform. Public fascination was equally intense. The virtual reconstruction exhibition, launched simultaneously at the National Archaeological Museum in Athens and online through immersive VR platforms, broke attendance records with over 15 million virtual visitors in the first month alone. Social media tags related to the mechanism generated over 1 billion impressions, making it momentarily more discussed than contemporary politics or entertainment. What's captured public imagination isn't just the technology, observed Dr. Nikos Stampoulidis, director of the Museum of Cycladic Art, but the human story, the realization that people from over 2,000 years ago grappled with the same celestial mysteries that still fascinate us and solve them with elegant mechanical solutions. Educational systems reacted swiftly. Within 6 months, curricula across dozens of countries were being revised to include the new understanding of ancient Greek technological capabilities. Universities reported dramatic increases in applications to programs combining classics, archaeology, and engineering, disciplines previously rarely connected. Not everyone embraced the findings unconditionally. Some scholars expressed skepticism about certain interpretations, particularly regarding the mechanism's predictive capabilities. Professor Emeritus Richard Davidson of Oxford cautioned, "While the mechanical evidence is compelling, we must be careful not to project our understanding of astronomical physics onto ancient minds that conceptualize celestial movements very differently." Perhaps most profoundly, the findings sparked philosophical discussions about the nature of historical progress. If ancient Greeks possessed such sophisticated mechanical and astronomical knowledge, what caused this tradition to disappear for over a millennium? This question prompted new research into how knowledge is preserved or lost across civilizational transitions, with implications for how our own society might safeguard critical information for future generations. Rewriting ancient technology history. The complete decoding of the Antikythera mechanism has necessitated a fundamental revision of technology's historical timeline. What was once viewed as a singular anomaly, an isolated flash of brilliance in an otherwise technologically simple era, now appears to be the surviving example of a sophisticated mechanical tradition that flourished throughout the Hellenistic world. This revelation has toppled the long-held belief in a linear progression of technological development. The differential gearing found in the mechanism wasn't reinvented in medieval Europe. It represents knowledge lost and later rediscovered. This pattern appears repeatedly. The The mechanism's calendar computations rival those developed in the Renaissance. Its eclipse prediction accuracy wasn't matched until the 18th century, and its miniaturized precision gearing parallels clockwork developments from the 1700s. We need to completely abandon the notion that technological sophistication steadily increases throughout history, argues Dr. Wei Jiang, a historian of science at MIT. Instead, we're seeing complex cycles of innovation, preservation, loss, and rediscovery. The Antikythera findings suggest ancient Greek mechanical knowledge reached heights not seen again for nearly 1,500 years. Archaeological perspectives are shifting dramatically as well. Sites previously excavated without attention to small metal fragments are being revisited, with several yielding what appear to be similar mechanism components. A partial gear system discovered in Sicily in 1978, previously misidentified as decorative metalwork, has been reanalyzed and confirmed as mechanically related to the Antikythera tradition. Textual sources once dismissed as exaggeration now demand reconsideration. Cicero's descriptions of Archimedes' planetary models, long thought to be literary embellishment, align precisely with the mechanical principles found in the Antikythera mechanism. Similarly, references in Vitruvius to complex water-driven astronomical computers now appear technically feasible rather than fantastical. The timeline shift extends beyond Europe. Comparison with early Chinese astronomical computing devices reveals striking parallels, suggesting possible knowledge transfer along ancient trade routes. The Jiangheng seismoscope of 132 CE employs differential mechanical principles strikingly similar to those in the Antikythera mechanism, raising tantalizing questions about transcontinental scientific exchange.